Hello, NFL football fans. My name is Gary, aka the IDP Tipster, and I'm going to share my Week 9 big money parlay picks. Welcome back, and we're going to kick this off with a no-brainer with Khalil Mack of the Chargers versus the Browns at a negative 110 for a quarter of a sack. All right, so I know this is negative 110, and it's not one of the normal big plus money type best bets for the parlay picks that I would usually select. But I was looking for an anchor after finding the other two, and this is the best damn anchor that I'd seen at the time. He's going up against the Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston. And even though Khalil Mack is not on the same 17 sack pace that he was last year, with only like 4.5 or something this year, he is nearly graded a 92 PFF grade. You know, this guy is having a Pro Bowl style year. Anyhow, it's just not showing up in the sacks. But in this situation, I'm definitely going to take this stud that just doesn't know how to fade. I mean, he's up in age considering he's been doing this for years. I'm taking him against Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. I mean, there's no doubt about this. So Cleveland has been flirting around uh, in the top 10, top five, just like some of these other teams we're going to talk about with allowing production off the edge. They've had troubles all year with their injuries. And, you know, now they're down to Jameson Winston, which is like 39 years old. He is holding his own, but again, he's 39 years old. He's not the same guy he used to be. So he is actually coming off, I believe, 3 sacks. He's been sacked 3 times in the last 2 games or since taking over for Watson. It's been relevant for Cleveland all year long and a problem for Watson. And I don't have any problems thinking that I can anchor this round robin parlay pick that I put on this with Khalil Mack to get a quarter of a sack, just for the fact that he is just a stud and the production and the talent is lining up. So on paper, this is a lock for me. So talking about the next 2 guys that's coming up to finish off this parlay, we've talked about these guys again in the past. Both of them we've used twice. They both hit once for us, and I have no problem. And I'm going to point out the fact that the reason that these guys' numbers is going to be a lot higher on the plus payout side is for the fact that, well, they're not as known. Okay, Vegas doesn't know them. The fans doesn't know them. Whatever this whole situation is with them not catching up on the defensive side of the ball, we'll use Khalil Mack as an example. I mean, his name alone, even though he's only got 4.5 sacks, both of these other guys got exactly that or more, you know, and they're plus side graded. It's just that Khalil Mack is known. So they're, you know, they know, their people know, fans know how the betting and odds change. Everybody knows about Mac, so his numbers are going to be less. You know that there. It's just a thing in the back of your mind where you're going to think that stud has got the better odds. You know, so a known stud with a history. All right. So, anyways, we're going to talk about Gervon Dexter getting over a quarter of a sack at plus 215. They're going up against Arizona, and Arizona, you know, actually the last couple of games they've kind of shored up thing, kept Kyle Murray clean, but they did have a really big tendency in the first like 6 games to really give up a lot of sacks. So, granted, that production on paper is coming off the edge, and Dexter does play on the interior, but we're weighing in heavy on the fact that this kid is still a well above par graded kid, and part of the best thing that he's graded at as an interior defensive lineman is pass rushing. All right, and at the same time, they are down Will Henderson at right starting guard. I believe it is left or right. I think it was right, but either way, that's right in the wheelhouse for where Dexter plays. All right, so with that combination and already having a high production, which mainly is off the edge, so I'll mention DeMarcus Walker, defensive end. He was at plus 185. I like that too as a pivot play here, or even just an extra bet. But I'm playing a conservative. We had a rough week 7 before. I missed getting a pod out last week in an article because I went to the High State Arkansas game and watched the Buckeyes win. So anyhow, back to Dexter. I have no problems thinking that he's going to be able to get in and get himself a nice little sack based off his talent, his drive, and just basically he's breaking out. And he's got rested off of that bye. He's primed from a good game last week, and I don't think he's going to have any problems getting inside there. So we're going to go ahead with Dexter over a quarter of a sack at plus 215. Again, let's make this 2 out of 3 with Dexter. This kid is just tearing it up. Next up, we're going to talk about the Broncos Jonathon Cooper at over quarter of a sack at plus 260. Oh, 260. Okay, this guy's been tearing it up. He's coming off a breakout year last year, basically. He's been their main key cog as a pass rusher in Denver. The guy has, at the moment, he's not on quite the pace that he was last year, but he's holding his own overall at 5.5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, and 7 tackles for a loss up to this point. He definitely has the gumption and the motor to get the job done. And they're playing against Baltimore here, which is basically been a top 10 overall production off the edge for the whole entire season and flirt with top 5 all the time. So, and Lamar Jackson is definitely not, people think about him scrambling or thinking about how mobile he is. That's not always working in his favor, especially for like the last 3 weeks. In week 6, he had 2 sacks. Week 7, he had 2 sacks. Last week, he was sacked 3 times. I have no problem anchoring Khalil Mack with Dexter and Jonathon Cooper to get this parlay going at a plus 264 if you play it straight. If you turn around, to play the round robin like me, it knocks that down. But we're doing modest bids, or excuse me, modest betting. And we're just doing this to have fun with some big money plus deep bets, So, hey, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you checked it out. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here and we'll talk to you next week again with some big plus money parlay picks on the defensive side of the ball.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.